Good morning, everyone in Mexico, and good afternoon to some other countries in Latin America. Welcome to this digital version of DHL Transportation Forum. My name is Claudia Marquez, and I'm Senior Manager of the Solution Design Team in DHL Supply Chain in Mexico. I tell you that this conference will be presented into three languages Spanish, Portuguese, and English. Please select this audio by clicking above the transmission. During the session, you'll have the opportunity to ask any question you'd like through the chat, which is below the transmission. Please use this space only for asking questions, and place the word question within your message to identify it. Once again, I invite you to share your experience, a photo, a selfie, any experience that you have about this experience. Please use the hashtag DHLTF2020, as you can see it on screen, to follow the conversation. Now we receive Roberto Maldonado and Pablo Medellin, executive there in the DHL supply chain. They will be moderating this panel, Concept in Sustainable Transportation, a topic which is very relevant during the last years, and in DHL we take it very seriously. Our first panelist, Greco Garcia, is assessor in the Autonomous University from Puebla, where he served as executive in marketing of the same university foundation. He is a promoter and developer of events for Global Mexico Agreement. And he stands out as a climate mentor, as a leader within the Climate Reality Project. He has participated in international summits such as the Smart City Expo Latam, held in Puebla, Economic Commission for Latin America in Chile, and the Integration Summit for Achieving Peace in Guatemala. Welcome, Greco. Our second panelist is Eduardo Batti, who has 24 years of international experience. Eduardo is mostly related to products from the automotive sector in Mexico. He has two other businesses in overseas. The first one where he stayed 3 years, and the other one in Germany. Since 2005, he has been a part of the automotive growth, and he is responsible of the new business models development. Welcome, Eduardo. And Pablo, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you, Claudia. Good morning. Good morning, Eduardo Greco. Thank you to the audience who has been able to connect. My name is Pablo Medellin. I'm Transport Operations Executive for DHL Supply Chain Network.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Eduardo Greco. I am Roberto Maldonado. I am charged in purchases in DHL Supply Mexico, and we will be the moderators of this interesting panel.
Well, before we start, I want to tell you that DHL is a company who is compromised with the environment, that impacts in the environment. Within this, DHL's leadership implies that we are pioneers in the conservation of the environment. Among others, the main actions that we'll be doing during the next years, first is to neutralize the carbon emissions, to clean up all our operations storages, to reduce the contaminants to 2025. And we also want to look for sustainable solutions for 2025 in our networks. And finally, DHL will be certifying our collaborators in DHL with our program Go Green Services. Our activities, our key activities, our business strategy is focused on the reduction of carbon dioxide. Our program Go Green has other aspects such as air, water, biodiversity, noise, and local pollution. Without any doubt, this is interesting and complex. And for this, Greco Garcia will be talking about, will give us the context with hard data of, of this issue about sustainability, how this works between institutions, government. Eduardo, on the other hand, will be talking about the technology that Bosch is using. Some of it is electromobility in cars, commercial cars, connection systems, and plus he'll be talking about more technology about Bosch. Go ahead, Greco.
Well, first of all, I am thankful for this invitation, thankful to DHL for considering us. And I think today I celebrate that you were doing these events, that you were talking in this forum today because you're opening a space for people to know what's what's going on in the industry, what's the industry doing, and it's so fashion subject of e-commerce. So what is DHL doing? Congratulations, it is a great initiative. And from civil organizations, we are working to create a mindset so we can create new strategies and create consciousness of how are we impacting our country and our world. So as human beings, this is important. And let's start with the first slide. These two numbers are something irrelevant for many people may say it's just 1 degree of difference. But 1 degree may lead to a simple example, for instance, a lot of natural catastrophes because of pollution in our world. One degree can be the difference. Many might consider this irrelevant, but it is so shocking that you can see New York being flooded. Miami in the incoming years might be flooded too. So that is the big difference of this degree and the cities that are so affected for pollution. Here we see several examples, and these are ones that affect the most in pollution, specifically the ones that produce charcoal, charcoal, and of course transportation is pollution too, and deforestation, mining. That is part of what impacts our world. How are we polluting it, and how it affects everything, starting with the greenhouse effect gases. So it is important to see where we are standing today, to see the big amount of pollution we have of fossil combustion. So it is very important for people that work in environment topics. It is important to know where we're at for the industry and to work, like to have these international companies working so hard fighting against this climate change. And fighting, I don't mean like a war, but like a transformation to transform production towards a greener perspective. So that is very good to have, and it is also good to know what actions have we been doing and the impact they have had. So talking about the energy that we have nowadays, which is focused in pollution, we can we can compare maybe 500,000 atomic bombs of first generation per 365 days per year. That is equivalent. That is the energy that we are releasing in pollution. It is just astonishing how much harm are we doing to ourselves and to our planet. So these these refineries and petrol oil companies, they they are going towards a global a global approach of using this oil. But let's say there's a big downfall in case of Exxon, for instance. Half of the year, Exxon has been falling. Their shares have fallen in $1.6 billion in what we have of the year so far. So it is important to see how the investments in these companies, even though they are evolving, and for this I would like to consider Eduardo, that he may be able to tell us more about these companies that are going so low share wise, and even though they are working in different ways to do gas or combust. We are focused not only in the engine, the regular engine of the vehicles, but also in other systems. Bosch is focused in how to enhance all the systems and all the engines of internal combustion so they can be more efficient. And so we are having investments, very important ones, to continue developing technology, this technology and others. So what Bosch is looking for is how to be more efficient in all the systems, and also how to reduce the carbon fingerprint, the footprint throughout mobility. Yes, interesting. The transformation. Where are we going in the transformation of fossil combustions? So continue with Exxon. Exxon, it has been a challenge between this kind of old-fashioned combustions and the free energies. So Tesla works with other companies that are innovative to the degree that they please be more efficient in energy use in their batteries, in their solar panels. These are a direct competitors for fossil combustibles. So Tesla's shares started growing because the market is leading us to use more renewable sources of energy. So we see how it is growing, where is it going, of this use of renewable energies. In July, British petroleum executives admitted that some of the resources won't see the light of day. So that speaks of the importance and the use that is being held of fossil combustibles, because we are using them too much and we are polluting too much. So this is growing secondary, and because of our social responsibility, these companies now, without pointing them or without being very deep in the financial diminished that they have had in their numbers, what Eduardo have said, that this favors another market. Where can they grow in their businesses without closing them? So it's interesting to see the numbers of each of these companies, to know when and where they are doing stuff and what are the repercussions of this. So these companies that work, of course, in social programs as other technology companies, but I would like to mention the petrochemical industries, because these they convert, they transform this oil. One of the three more important topics that we have nowadays is transportation, and I repeat myself, airplane transportation, ships transportation, so all that. And the transformation goes much beyond the innovation in transportation. It also in the hydrocarbon combustibles. So it is important to talk about transportation, but we are much more advanced on that than in renewable energies. So let's talk about consumption. And this is in British thermical units. As you see in the coal line, there was a very high index, and now it is in a downfall. And renewable energies is growing very importantly in the last 10 years, and it will keep on growing. Chile is one of the most buyers of renewable energy. About aeolic generation, wind energy capacity, it is important to look at the last 15 years because the companies of wind energy that operate in Latin America, they are from Germany or from China or from Canada, but all their technologies in wind energy generation can eradicate the the need of the hydrocarbon use and even surpass it by 40%. So we can say that something for the future will be to find more and better ways to generate this energy for all kind of necessities, business, manufacturing, or personal homes. So Germany announced in June 2020 the new way they will have as a strategy for green energies. It will be 9 billion euro for their national strategies. Part of this global system of electricity consumption is 10 times over that. It can be 40 times greater if we used more renewable energy, in this case wind energy, and also solar panels can bring us thousands of megawatts, and that nowadays fortunately we are closing hydrocarbon plants. About solar panels, gigawatts, the high index of production and consumption of energy is surpassed by by the conventional energy and also the wind energy. So solar and wind are growing, and also we have the hydrogen energy generation, and hydrocarbon versus renewable energies. We compare here in 2009 and 2013, 2019, how this has surpassed. Of course, according to the politics of every country and treaties they signed, for instance, the Treaty of Paris. And besides generating, it comes, let's say, to store. Where can we store? Yes, where can we store the energy? Batteries, which it is an important part to know when and how can we make things efficient to make these systems of solar energy production and wind energy production. Batteries, of course, play an important role, and just as let's and the technology increases and the cost decreases. Nowadays, you can buy it more easily in the market. So solar and batteries, that is the key that can transform everyday's life. We can see in stores, we can buy a photovoltaic panel with a battery system that can be alternative with an interconnected system to our local energy system. In Mexico, the case would be CFE, and we can have a system in our house. So it is in our reach, and that is how the evolution is transforming. It is part of our everyday lives. Now, the global electric system, in terms of mobility, we can see where the sector is going in terms of land transportation. We're talking about vehicles, industrial mobility, and an example will be Volkswagen. They announced in Chattanooga, Tennessee, that the plant grew, where it is targeting its growth to electric vehicles, and that's what Volkswagen does in the German growth. That the German cities are one of the most that do the most in this matter, and the companies that bet for this in 2019, 2020, where is the technology and the marketing of the consumption of these vehicles going, whether they are industrial or everyday vehicles? They are betting all these brands to manufacture products, conventional products, with an hybrid technology, and those who don't will be out of the market today. Those who that people who is not seeing to the future of the electric energy, they will be dead in some years. So General Motor believes the future is all electric. That's just it. We can see they are working in conventional mobility, also with bicycles, scooters, hybrid vehicles, hybrid taxis. There are conventional ones, but we are also focusing our efforts into a more sustainable way of doing things. So, where is the electric tendency growing, the trends of this um, part of the market? Statistics that Bloomberg is showing us for the growth of renewable energies. As Pablo said, there are some companies that are betting for training, that are betting for global focusing towards growth and also taking care of the environment and social responsibility. That I would like to share with Eduardo this topic about social responsibility. We see we seen that the companies that are here today, I think we are worried and we are doing stuff and we are covering our responsibility. And what we have in common is that we have a company social commitment that we are using technologies, and also this social responsibility is not only outside our institutions but also within our institutions. I guess you also have social responsibilities with renewable energies. Yes, that's true. Bosch has in mind the common well-being, and we're very focused in this. Yes, it is a part of be creative and have a common line of action. The civil society and also the private sector that are working with the government in order to be more sustainable and have a more sustainable approach to our Mother Earth. So I'm sorry I spoke too much, but I was trying to mention about the hydrogen powered semi trucks and the hydrogen powered energies. Anheuser-Busch is purchasing 800 hydrogen electric with Nikola semi trucks, and they have an autonomy of 1,200 miles. And nowadays, Chile, for instance, has already 200 of these trucks for public transportations. There are vehicles, but the cost is just out of proportions for many countries. But I think we can see where is the technology going, and Eduardo will point out where is the hydrogen technologies going, and the cities that are already doing and are very committed to 2025 to create, which are committed in their carbon emissions, and we can see that commitment. In this case, the Treaty of Paris, they committed to diminish their carbon footprint and stay below the 2 degrees in global warming. All this pollution is leading to that, but technologies will help us to stop affecting our planet. So I think this is the first picture we had of our planet. We need to raise awareness, and let's in our everyday life we should think of this. It doesn't depend of me, it doesn't depend of you neither, but all of us should take actions for sustainability, and our institutions must do that as well as our people. I think better companies should create it.
Thank you very much, Greco. This presentation you've made is important because of all the data and information that you told us. I wanted to ask a question. Do you think through Al Gore Foundation, these 2 degrees, are you making a great effort enough effort?
I think cities nowadays are working with the objectives that they had in the Treaty of Paris, and one of the goals was to diminish the carbon footprint with the indicators. And of course the indicators are marked already of what were before and how will they be after. You can't do anything if you don't have an indicator. In August we broke the record of global warming in 2019, 2018, 2017, 10 years ago also. We broke all those records. And in August, this was surpassed, and we keep on increasing and increasing to the point that it might get to a catastrophe this if we don't know the cycles of the spring, the summer, that is being broken. And this is because of climate change. And us as industry must be aware of this.
Thank you very much. I hope that now in your presentation, Eduardo can tell us how Bosch is contributing with this carbon emission reduction and the automotive industry and all this mobility. Thank you, Greco.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. Thanks for DHL. I'm very glad to be here with us. Graco, thank you for your speech. And I'm happy to be here. I will present what is Bosch seeing, where are we going, like technology wise, and not only what we are doing, but also what we are seeing in the whole picture of what sustainability is. It is a presentation I'll show you, and it talks about what is Bosch, what is Grupo Bosch. I am very proud to say I've been working there for 25 years. It is a German group, a private company, private because we are having a vision in the mid and in the long term. So this allows us to see a clear vision of where do we want to go. Innovation for your life. What does that mean? Innovation for your life is what are we doing in our products and services to enhance the quality of life of everybody, the quality of life of how are we applying this technology and the products. Bosch is focused in innovation, but not only that, we also have a branch that looks after the common well-being, and the common well-being is what was discussed earlier. We have the Bosch Foundation, where we see how can we impact society, what do we do for society, for their well-being, with a scholarship, with I Like My School, with a series of activities that are targeted to several markets depending on where we're at. And also all that we are that is about the environment. The environment is very important to Bosch, and it is the first industrial group globally that is looking for an objective of zero emissions of carbon dioxide. We are doing this in 2019 in Germany. In 2020, we want to do that in Mexico. And we want in 400 locations in 2020 to be a neutral emission of CO2, us as the first layer of cooperation with our partners. Innovation, what does that mean? Innovation is the cloud. Bosch is in the cloud. The data is fundamental now because this data transferring, we're offering that to our clients to have the data transfer done in the cloud, and we are transferring a lot of information there that will help us to enhance our products. Innovation is also to IoT, the Internet of Things, how our products are connected now, and all the Bosch products are connected in 70%, and in the next 3 years we want that to be 100% connectivity with our products, not only in the industrial aspect, but also in consumption habits. And how do you connect a washing machine with a dryer machine to have a better efficiency while washing and consume less resources? So that is innovation for your life, a 4.0 industry. What we are seeing in Germany, we are doing 5G. How do we connect these that in the end of the day, people are looking for having an own product and that flexibility to create this product? We can do that with a connected industry. Innovation for your life. Really, all the technologies are pushing the train. I can say a million things here, but we don't have that much time available here. But really, it is it is so interesting. Grupo Bosch has four business sectors: mobility solutions, industrial technology, and industrial technology is all the technology that it used in the industry, which is Grupo Restron, and also technology in energy and construction, and everything related to our boilers of hot water, our heaters, our security systems, our induction systems. It is really everything that is focused to technology in construction and our consumption products. That is our appliances like the washing machines and all these that Bosch is doing. So we're doing a lot of things, and globally, Bosch has 77.7 billion euro in sales. We have 280 manufacturing plants and nearly 400 workers worldwide, and 60% we are focused in mobility solutions. I shared also my shares of sales and innovation. Innovation is also to be, as we are talking, having a, a patent every 30 minutes. That is how you know how big Bosch is. It really is one of the best providers in mobility solutions worldwide, and that is an advantage for our customers. What are we seeing? If I focused in mobility, which is one of my strengths among others, I'll say that in the whole picture, Bosch is facing the future of mobility. There's always a point A and a point B, and a person who wants to go from here to there. Even if it is intermodal, it doesn't matter. I just want to be from where we're sitting to maybe to my office. And what will I do to get to point B? So there will always be this necessity. And how do we see the future of mobility? The strategy that Bosch is having is the strategy of being connected, of automation in driving and electrification. So personal mobility, that is one of the most important objects for. But what we are looking at, what we want it to be, is to be fun and awesome, but also secure, comfortable, and also efficient and with a low cost. Because in the whole picture, what we want in this system of mobility is how to reduce to zero the carbon emissions and have a better efficiency with products and solutions and services we have. So we will get there with a customized transportation and an automized also that is being autonomous means to have zero accidents and to sit comfortably in your vehicle without any worries. How will we interact between the systems and as a system as a whole? How will we interact with the vehicle, with the people? So that is an important subject, and the powertrain and what is to come. It is not only electrified mobility. We are seeing that the internal combustion engine has been have some enhancements for it to be more efficient, and not only in vehicles but also in motorcycles. For instance, in Bosch is doing electric engines for bicycles and for motorcycles, and you can scale that up to ships. And DHL also have a lot of experience in mobility. Well, let's go point by point. What is customized transportation? That is, with all these new technologies we are seeing now with electrifications, where you don't need to have a big engine in your car, what we can do is with a small engine, we have more space inside the car, so you can get in, sit, and the vehicle says, "Hello, good morning, Eduardo. How are you feeling today?" That is the connectivity you can have and the interaction you can have with the vehicle, with the HMI or human machine interface, where you can have an interface with screens and a connectivity with Wi Fi. You can have interconnection with your friends, with the services, with the solutions, with your own mood that you might have that day. The vehicle can feel you with your pulse, or it is just a series of activities that are to come, this interaction that will come to be transportation, something fun, that you get inside a vessel or a room and all the environment to change. You're not longer seeing the traffic outside, the transit. You are you're seeing other things, doing other things you want to do. Yes, an added value. And how this vessel becomes an extension of your office or your house, that's what we're looking at in a fun way. And how this system as a whole will impact in the efficiency. And for instance, in a bus, we're having in car multimedia a new product. This product will connect itself, for instance, connect with screens and the video system and the audio system, and it is all with Wi-Fi. So in the end, what we're looking for is a reduction of the wires. We don't need wires anymore in a bus. And what happens with them? If you don't have it, it's less heavy and you have a better efficiency in your car and less fuel consumption. So this customized interconnectivity will be stronger and stronger. The comfort and the service, where maybe if you are passionate about mobility and you like sports, you can get in your vehicle and you can feel that feeling of speed. Maybe some others wouldn't be comfortable with that, but we'll be doing other things inside the vehicle, like working or chatting or organizing themselves, whatever. And all this interconnectivity in mobility is very important. Automized mobility. We get to the same point. How are we more efficient? Do we do more secure? What we want is to be more automized in driving. And what we see is also on screen. how this interconnectivity is being seen in different transport units. There we have a truck or a trailer. How will that interact with the warehouse when the trailer comes so the unloading is more efficient and of course be more efficient in the system as a whole, and how with this interconnectivity, maybe with radars and sensors, which are being produced nowadays in Bosch in Mexico and around the world, how these sensors identify if you are crossing or if a person is crossing, yes, walking by to avoid any accident, how the system detects that person and actionates the brakes, and how is this interaction with the city and the vehicle. So at the end of the day, there is an optimization within the system and how the vehicles also interconnect with each other to know if there's a parking space available, and if you're in a vehicle, for instance, there is an accident in front of you, and even though you don't notice, well, that system will notice, and if any case there was an accident, the signal is sent to the cloud, and all the vehicles that are around or behind that vehicle um, know that, and they prepare themselves to go through that zone of risk. And what is the electronic that is the same level of security? This has saved more lives than the seat belt. So this is very important, and it is a key point for mobility because you don't notice. Maybe you turn off a little lights, but and you don't notice, but all the systems are working with each other to avoid accidents. So we are just looking for a better efficiency. Connected mobility also help us to interact with ourselves and with other people, with social media. This connected mobility allows us to see how much quality or what is the quality of your oil or your parts or the equipment you have in your car to automatically to schedule an appointment in the shop and maybe be more efficient and also funnier so you don't wait for your vehicle to be handed over. And something impressive, 30% of transit within city is generated for looking for a parking space. So what we're doing for that is with parking lots that are fully autonomous, well, the vehicle will park itself, so you don't need to wait or anything like that. So with this interconnectivity, if the vehicle goes by and there is a parking space available in the street, the vehicle will automatically send a signal to tell you, hey, there's a space here, and also it tells the other vehicles around you, so the one that is on the way will get to that space. So we see that with these electric vehicles, we see where can I go, where can I park, where can I charge my vehicle, so I can do my own stuff and leave the vehicle parked over there. So we we have robotaxis in Germany, for instance, to see how this works in autonomous driving. So there are several things what Bosch is doing focused in all this. So we have a better connected system, powertrain. That is something very interesting. We talked about what were the energies and renewable energies and the importance of them. So here I show a tractor camion. What is a fact is that the level of transport or the volume of transport, the volume that will be transported in the years to come, and you as DHL, of course, know a lot about this more than everybody here. And what we're seeing now with COVID is that consumption and the way that we're consuming is very different. So how every time we're using more freight units and how the products are being transported. That is fascinating. There will still be needs in mobility and there will still be development within the powertrain. So that is what Bosch is doing. In one hand, we have electrified mobility. We are very focused in what the electric powertrain is and the efficiency of it from semiconductors that we are manufacturing in Bosch, and how like in a systemic picture we are developing from the beginning all these systems, these electric systems throughout its components, engines, axes, and we can do, for instance, rotative chassis. It has, of course, Bosch components, so it has brakes, of course, it has the electric engine and everything that represents. We have the axis for the wheels, and with this rotative chassis and with new technologies for maybe 3D impression, how do you adapt these necessities for your need? And that creates new business model. So these rotative chassis, you can sell it, you can lend it, and of course you say, I have already gone by so many miles, you pay by every mile and all that. But what you were talking about, I'm sorry, innovation of, oh yes, renewable energies and technologies, yes, to avoid hydrocarbon combustibles. And how do you do that throughout your whole process? How to reduce the carbon footprint? And that allows us to have within our systems an electrified unit that can be powered by wind or by the sun. And with these renewable energies, how to create a greener energy for mobility to be even greener. So these are all the. The Grupo Bosch is not only focused in certain technologies. What we see that electrification, the hybrid vehicles, and all these are technologies in transit, and this is a transition. We will have that for some years. An internal combustion engine will still be consumed in 10 years. In 70% of the cars will have one of these in 10 years. Why? Because internal combustion engines, we're having more technology in this regard in the conventional engine. But what we're doing is how this transition will go to new technologies, for instance, hydrogen. So we have a vehicle and also we have a ship. It can be any kind of construction equipment too. We are very focused in that regard with very efficient systems. And we can have a light hybrid, a plug-in vehicle that you connect, that you plug to the electric network to charge the batteries. You can have an internal combustion engine or 100% electric one. You can have a vehicle with renewable energies and new kind of fuel without having that much impact in the environment. And in the other hand, you have these enhanced internal combustion engines with the fossil fuel consumption and also diesel fuels. We are reducing all the emissions of nitro oxides, and And the particles also now we are releasing less, and we are in line with the regulations Euro 6, for instance. So it is important, and how with these post-treatment systems and with increasing the pressure of the injection of fuel, how can we have engines that are more efficient with a lesser amount of fuel needed, and of course with less CO2 emissions? We see this also in the future of transportation. What we are looking for is to have a transport that it is neutral in CO2 emissions, that it is zero. As you said, in Germany, there are a lot of very big investments taking place on hydrogen. And us as Bosch, we're also betting on hydrogen. And not only that, it's important to point. Yes, we are doing all the powertrain, and that is important for us. And this powertrain will adapt to all the necessities of every market. They might say, yeah, but in Latin America we don't have that infrastructure, and they are right. Maybe that infrastructure will need to be built up little by little with the electric infrastructure up to the hydrogen infrastructure and the politics. That, yes, the politics is another topic. This politics, the regulations, they must be hand by hand with technology. Technology is very advanced, let's say, and we can introduce many other technologies, but we need to wait for the regulations. For instance, on
Regulations,
automotive,
normativities of all these fuels.
yes, the regulations for the fuels themselves and for the autonomous driving, for instance. Maybe it will be easier to have an autonomous flight, that we have less regulations that on the land. So everything that a diesel engine represents, it's very efficient, and we can mix these with a conventional engine of high efficiency with post-treatment systems and filters of particles, and maybe combine that with an electric component. And what we're doing nowadays is that we have a power pack of hydrogen, like a super battery, let's say, that what it does is with electrolysis to send this electric energy to each of the engines of the powertrain of the truck or the trailer. And it is impressive for those who have driven already an electric vehicle. It is impressive. How can you reach speeds of 0 to 100 in 9 seconds? It has an amazing power, and it is one of the things that we need in this regard. And some of the things that I want to mention also is how to make a convoy with these. Several trucks can be connected with the technologies I mentioned before with each other. So the one that is driving in front is the one in control of the whole convoy, and the ones behind can be more relaxed, let's say. And this is thanks to the interconnectivity that we have in the cloud. And again, we're talking about better efficiency of this system, and we are reducing emissions. For instance, these trucks behind can reduce their fuel consumption 16% because there is less air resistance, and it is more secure because they are all interconnected. They have all the systems that we have at stage 2 of alignment, and all the systems we have of line departure and the speed control and the radars and the sensors that we have, of course, to manage in the end of the day a better efficiency. And everything that we offer with full solutions. In Bosch, we have a division of service solution provider in which with a single button, a person will answer the call, and you can have great customer service, support sales, technical service, and to manage your social media. It is really the experience that you can have with your clients with different kinds of assistants and advisors and all this. So this is just with pressing a button. So monitoring these new business models we're having not only in Bosch in Mexico. Here we have in Guadalajara a monitoring center. We have a solution that is customized to your fleet. How fleets and convoys with this interconnectivity, you can have a preventing and a corrective strategy to have a track to keep an eye in the fuel consumption of your vehicle, and also to know if the quality of the fuel is the correct one or not. You have the geofencing and GPS and alerts like when will you arrive, um, how will I get with my freight to a certain point, at what time for everything to be ready. You can also rate your drivers so you see how efficient and how dangerously is he driving, and maybe give him an award or a punishment. So the security is important, the alarms and the mechanic situation of the vehicle. So these solutions exist already, and everything that I have presented is there already, and we are in a process in which this transformation of mobility is very passioning. At least for me, it's I'm so involved in this. You have never seen this before, and this transformation. There is less volume of sales because of COVID. There is a new paradigm of how am I moving myself from place to place, and for instance, hailing and sharing vehicles. The mobility, just the whole mobility is changing a lot. And us as Bosch, we are contributing to all these solutions to help the environment, as we have said. Bosch, as DHL, and many other companies, we're very focused in taking care of the environment in order to have less emissions, a better efficiency, a better security, and all these with innovation. What we're living today, COVID, what's doing is just accelerating this innovation, these new ways of transportation, these new ways of innovation, not only like in technology, but also in our lives. It is changing us. And what this is doing is to accelerate these processes that we had in mind before, and they were in development and they still are, but the situation we are living will accelerate this even further for because of interconnectivity, and I'm convinced we are in the right path.
Yeah, and even in health, this is becoming a cluster. The vehicle becomes a cluster of technology that help us detect these health systems, like you said it before.
Yes, that's correct. It is very interesting. I know we have just 30 minutes.
30 minutes. I
I
think that you
I
have.
think they are also good, like the mortality rate of people. This innovation subject, like with technology, will support the drivers, like to have less accidents and all that. This is this is what a smart city is. If you make a city smart with innovation, with conventional transportation or other ways of transportation.
All of these gadgets, they are interfacing with the vehicle, and this allows us to have more efficiency in all the senses because this interface, the human interface and the technological interface. And as you said, for the logistic world, this mobility is passionate. We could talk about this hours and
Yes, hours.
hours. The freight
Eh,
cars, when we talk about parking, we see it in the administration, in management, where to park, where we have to be, that you have to report it. So if the system connects with the companies and with the vehicle, you go straight forward. You don't have to stop. This is more efficient. In sustainability, for example, there are new solutions to have an easier life, to optimize our schedules. The freight truck is ready just to store everything and to make everything quickly. This communication, that optimization in storaging is crucial.
yes, and if you see, if I order a product in a website, I can receive it. You know better than me, but it can get the day after or 2 days after. So the whole management that you need to move from point A from point B in certain time, and it's impressive. And monitoring, yes, monitoring us in the universities. We see the vehicles picking up the students, and you can know how many students you have. Transportation is, of course, important. For instance, in the green campuses that they exist to monitor how many trucks are in the streets, and if there are a very low number of students, the system detects that they need to withdraw one or two vehicles so they don't spend that much fuel. That is impressive. Yes, one of the things that we have been working with some business partners, how to make routes more efficient. In Mexico, with this COVID, we we picked up like healthcare providers, yes, in the health sector, for the routes to be more efficient and to be specific for these people. And what we're doing is within Bosch, with the solutions and services we provide, we monitor where our associates living, and with the routes we have with a logistic partner that he traces these routes, we know which they should take to be more efficient. And with this better route efficiency, we have low emissions, less emissions. So we're very focused in everything regarding transportation. How do we transport from point A from point B in an efficient fashion and in without so much CO2 emissions?
You're the you are the ones we want, those enterprises, to lower the carbon emissions, mobility. Additionally, Eduardo, for example, the environment of the vehicle. How is that working? That interaction that the driver has a screen, but what else is happening? What Bosch is doing?
Well, one of the technologies we have in Bosch is sensors. So all the sensors, we have a great experience in that the sensors that we use for monitoring emissions. We're developing these sensors. For instance, if you're in your vehicle, the system will detect the level of blinking, how many times you are blinking. If you are driving, that can be an indicator that you are tired or not, and the vehicle will interact with you with some sound. So if the system detects that you fell asleep, the system is capable enough now to lower the speed automatically and to go to the side of the road and get to zero,
To
to
stop,
stop.
preventive.
Yes, preventive, stop, and our cockpits, for instance, also there is an interaction not only with a touchscreen but also with signals and turning your head.
It is not just a screen that you have to touch, it's a virtual thing, or how?
Well, it is a screen that when you touch that screen, you feel that you're touching a button, but it is just a screen.
Okay.
And what I mean is that you can do this movement and the screen changes. Or this move and another window comes in within the systems, or the cockpits can show in three dimensions. So you can play a song and the title of the song or the cover of the album. But well, albums don't exist anymore. But anyway, the cover of the song will show in 3D. So the importance of also in 3D, it can tell you the distance you have with the vehicle in front of you. You can have that displayed in 3 dimensions. So for the driver is able to see. And these vehicles that we see, that you go in and the color inside the vehicle is changing and you can change that. We have every day more we have every day more customization, which is what customers want in every aspect. From the moment that you are asking for a coffee and you say like 2.5 teaspoons of sugar, you can have that in the vehicles to um, you can, for instance, Eduardo, I want this kind of vehicle, but maybe this kind of vehicle there's nothing like that. So that is why you need the connection with all the system, what the customer is ordering, how it is designed, how it triggers to the whole supply chain. So at the end of the day, you can make a product in a manufacturing plant connected with the 4.0 industry, fully customized, so you can produce several components in a very quickly way and also customized.
That customization, would you have an example if it's showing, like for example, from the chassis that you build something up?
Well, the OEMs have their platform strategy. This platform itself, what you do is that you change just what goes on top of
Okay.
that. So, like from that production, that is a start point. And we see that these with the new technologies, the interaction you can have with your mobile phone or with your smartphone. You go in and it connects you automatically with the full system in the vehicle, so you can transform your telephone, or I mean to transform your vehicle into your cell phone. So these new technologies are the ones to come, and customization, changing colors, changing how you like to see the vehicle, the screens. A lot of things are about to come in screens, because inside the car you will have more space, and in this human interface interaction it will be impressive.
Okay. We continue with your presentation. Thank you very much, Eduardo. It's incredible how this technology is in our lives, in our daily lives, and in all the sectors. Like you said that before. And well, we go to the questioning session. Thank you very much. Definitely, there's a lot to discuss about sustainability. And now, some questions for Eduardo. Which are the normativities, the regulations for the battery disposal for electric cars?
Very good question. Well, as we mentioned before, our company is working to work with those who are doing the normatives and the regulations so we can interact with them. I don't know, Greco, if you know something that you would like to add here. I'll say that the normatives and regulations to dispose the batteries of hybrid and electric engines, I don't know
There
much.
are civil organizations that do that about commercialization, like the lithium, bank lithiums. They take them there, and heavy metals. They deal with it, all these battery things, battery issues, and they recycle this. There are even some commercial banks that donate their their goods, and they receive something for every ton that they deliver. And this whole social responsibility that some companies in Mexico do. They work in joining this, and then they send it to a bank. Thank you, both of you. And yeah, we have some homework to do. For the next Transportation Forum, we'll do it. Greco, what do the most advanced countries do about emissions?
Well, I think they do plenty of things. They signed the Treaty of Paris, so that is developed countries and less developed countries did, and they agreed to lower their carbon emissions. For instance, China is one of those that want to reduce the emissions the most because they are the ones that pollute the most, but they do have programs to be more efficient and to create smart cities, but they produce more than what they are able to reduce. So they do alliances with less developed countries so they can give resources and they can give the resource to other countries that don't have the money and build up programs. So let's say I give the money and you put the program of reforestation and the execution of this. So there is collaboration with developed countries and not developed countries, as we can label them, and reduce the carbon emissions differently. And there are other countries that work with public policies. Some others do green roofs. Some projects of energy efficiency, like the LEED, which are certifications for big constructions, where we are looking for energetic efficiency and the light, like the conventional light, we can substitute that with natural light, so we can have more windows, so buildings don't expand or don't waste that much electric power. So you can open your curtain and have a full light all day, natural light. Yes, it is part of the certifications. For instance, in Mexico, we have LEED certifications. The the cost of this certification is a little bit high, but there are several buildings that are certified with this LEED.
You were telling me that in Chile, in Latin America,
Chile, it is leader in the aspect that they buy their their power. Chile buys renewable energies. As a company can buy the energy to a private energy, they are working hard to buy energies to other countries and they work together with countries that develop solar energy or wind energy, and they buy it for Chilean consumption, and it is leader in renewable energy.
Thank you, Greco. How does renewable energy play a role in sustainable role in mobility? This is an open question, so Eduardo and then Greco.
Okay. Well, what I mentioned before, what we need to see is that as a system, we need to see how do we transform the energy that that you take from the source, maybe a wind power plant, and during the transformation process, we reduce the number of CO2 emissions. So, how this energy consumption, how can we do for it to, once it is inside the vehicle, when it is in the vehicle itself, how can it be more efficient with the use of the systems? So the fuel is one part, but the second part would be the technology. So the combination of these two can make a better efficiency with different technological strategies. That is what I see from the technical angle. I would I agree with you. If we see it as a conventional exercise, why should I buy an electric vehicle if when I get to my house I plug it to my wall where the energy is coming from and it is made uh, with non-renewable energies. So to work with renewable energy and mobility, it needs to be hand by hand. There is no point in having an electric vehicle that can have all the technologies if we are supplying it with dirty energy.
What we're looking there is a combination, such as what you were mentioning, like in Chile, for example, to have all this renewable
Yes,
energy
congruence.
and to have that mobility part that you were saying.
Chile has technology, for instance, in mobility, that all the traffic lights, according to the transit flow that they have, it is connected so everything can be more fluent and cut the transit less if there's not so much vehicles in the streets, not so many vehicles in the streets. So it is congruence. You shouldn't buy renewable energy if your infrastructure is in the mud. So you need to interconnect that.
And also the vehicles, most of the vehicles nowadays, beside that technology, also these boxes are biodegradable, not to pollute. So this talks about a sustainable system.
That's what we were seeing with batteries. It is to see how will we recycle the batteries as part of the system.
Thank you. And I think that this goes hand in hand. Uh, Other fuels are usable for reducing CO2. How do you consider that this apply in Latin America?
Well, as we mentioned, it is a strategy that it needs to be renewed, and several companies are doing like within their procedures, they want to reduce the CO2 emissions within their processes. So these alternative combustibles, when they are in the market, can be not only more efficient to have more efficient vehicles, but also to be greener within the production chain. So this is being done globally, and in Latin America, maybe. How will that apply? I don't know if you have more insight about this or information, but it is more than everything like refer to the manufacturing process of these technologies that can be used in different vehicles. I would add something about investment. Some companies I have seen that in the benefits that they have, like in management level or one level below that, and the organizers, let's say, the benefits are vehicles. And there are companies that are betting for benefits as hybrid vehicles and this production of CO2. Well, it is important to invest within your company. I think the strategy of reduction of the governments themselves, they must do taxing and they must have benefits for electric and clean vehicles. They must have taxing benefits for that, and that would be part of marking the way that where should we go. Latin America doesn't have the whole infrastructure for this, but as companies give a step forward and do something, yes, to invest. Invest it would be part of going little by little and do something as the private initiative and yes.
Okay. Yeah, what you're talking about is great, and one of these drivers is the carbon emission, the fuel emission. More than a vehicle is the emission, and that's it. That's possible for the employees.
Investment and also that the driver must have another chip. Well, when you see the efficiency of an electric or hybrid vehicle, you want to be a greener person. It really changes your mind and be more friendly with the environment.
With any doubt, is to change our culture towards renewable energy and how we consume them.
And that's why I said that we won't go only to electric or hybrid vehicles, but it is a combination of different powertrains. So the needs in Latin America, they are not the same that the US have. And within Latin America, maybe the needs of Chile, Brazil, or Mexico are different and different from Europe, of course. So there must be a strategy focused in what it is available in this country. As you said, the investment or the investments that we have to do.
Yeah, and in the companies, for example, it is important, and these loans that we that the providers give us.
It is important, like the value chain, because if you don't demand certain things to your chain that they should use, maybe that the 10% of your vehicles have green technologies, you are inviting for those who want to be part of your value chains can help you to bring your emissions down. Yes, the footprint.
Well, thank you very much for your answers. Let's take advantage of these last minutes. And can you please give us a message with the points that you'd like to share?
Well, for me, what's the most important is innovation. It is very important. This innovation will detonate sustainability, among other things.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Yes, just to add something, I am very pleased. Being in these forums gives you a lot of feedback that we cannot just criticize the industry. There are industries that work very hard in sustainability, and thank you, Eduardo, for sharing this information with us. It's so important to share with future generations because that's what we will give our children. This environment will give to them. So everyone working in the industry, if we are working with the environment, let's please bring down the carbon emissions in favor to invest in our future with these technologies and these developments. I think I think it is just they are there. Let's start using them and make our companies bigger. If you don't invest in technology, you don't have
Any
growth.
doubt what you were saying about the changing culture in development, investment, and that each one of us understands what are we going to live for the future that is going to improve those 1 2 degrees that you were saying. Well, thank you
Well,
very much. And to our panelists and our moderators, this is a very interesting topic for our strategy. And we are convinced that sustainability is essential in logistics, and that's why we are in different issues to take care of our planet and the environment. We thank all the people who were with us today, and we invite you to connect to the next conference, Reimagine the Transportation Environment. We wait you here at 1 p.m.